Bible-believing, preaching Christians is what goes on in this time. That's why the Sardis, they're known as the red ones. They are red with their own blood. And in the case of the Church of Rome, they are red with the blood of the saints. And if you've done any reading at all, on this time frame, you'll get some of it in Fox's Book of Martyrs. Two books I want to recommend you if you haven't read them. If you want these books, they should be a part of every Christian's library. First one is called The Trail of Blood by Dr. J.M. Carroll. I've had that, I think, since the second year I got saved. The Trail of Blood. You want that. Now you can get these, again, I always use Bible Believers Bookstore because they will have these there. Again, if you don't have Fox's Book of Martyrs, I would definitely get that. But Trail of Blood by Dr. J.M. Carroll. The other, I would recommend getting both volumes, but as far as where we're talking about right now, History of the New Testament Church, Volume 1, Dr. Peter Ruckman. Best history I have ever read from a true biblical perspective. I mean, Fox's Book of Martyrs, you got to be careful. Okay, they've got Constantine as a hero in there. Not the case. So, but those two you definitely want. Revelation 17, verses 5 and 6. I'll try to finish this up here this morning. Revelation 17, 5 and 6. And upon her forehead, a great whore, was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Now you've got, again, they're continuing with their policy of labeling the believers. Pelagians, Arnoldists, Albigenses, Lollards, Henricians, Waldenses, and again, Anabaptists. And it's not known how many were murdered in these genocidal wars. It was incredible. I mean, whole cities, whole communities. So many of them were fleeing into wilderness areas, mountain areas. And what they would do, though, they'd come down to the market towns whenever the markets were there, the fairs were, and they'd come down and they'd street preach. And they'd hoof it back up into the mountains and hide. That's how they did. And they would hunt these people down, all in the name of Holy Mother Church, in the name of the Virgin Mary. You got to read the histories, folks. I'm not giving you my opinion. You figure over a period of 500 years, and again, we're talking of 1000 to 1500 AD. Certainly hundreds of thousands, if not millions, murdered by the Roman Catholic Church. And the great whore was able to keep this up, for another 300 years. Right up to 1800, before they temporarily closed the office of Inquisition. But out of this period, he says there are still some names there, that have kept their garments clean. Out of this time, you get some of the great heroes of the faith come out of this time frame. Wycliffe, Huss, Savonarola, Millet, Waldo, that's the Waldensians, they named them after him. Conrad, Tauler, Tyndall, Führer, and probably another dozen names out of that time frame right there. These are all, pre-Reformation heroes of the faith. They preached in England, they preached in Germany, they preached in Switzerland, they were in Italy, they were in France, they were in Spain, they were in the Low Countries, and they just kept it up. And almost every one of those names I just gave you, those 9 names right there, Rome killed them. Killed them. Thing is, Rome itself, they're having infighting going on at this time. Oh, it's hilarious. You've got competing popes declaring the other one the Antichrist and excommunicating them, and whichever one has the biggest army and manages to win, they get their head lopped. It's just if it weren't so horrific, it'd almost be funny. Waging their wars against one another. These are what historians will call the Middle Ages, before the Reformation. All right, we're going to end there for this week. We've got more to say about Sardis, about that time period, and about its application to the church today, but we'll look at that for next week. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that you'd like me to repeat?
What was Dr. Ruckman's book?
The name of it is called The History of the New Testament Church, Volume 1. There are 2 volumes. The first one is going to take you up to the Reformation. And then the second volume will pick that up there and bring it right down to today. And I believe he finished those were in the 90s, so they're pretty, as far as where it comes down to today, fairly relevant. I believe the last book I'm reading right now, first time I had to really sit down and study, the last book he produced before he went home to heaven was his commentary on Daniel. Really good. Anything else? All right, we'll stop there.